Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Power of Work presentation. We're doing an informational interview with Kit Craven, who's a creative director. We wanted to give a good introduction to other careers. We've mainly focused on clinical research, and so this is us kind of trying to branch out and expand. And in general, informational interviews are really great for getting to know other people in your career path. Like you can go and ask your boss or ask your boss's boss for an informational interview. Or you can also look outside your current career path to the career that you want to go in. But it's a great way to get understanding of what the role is, what their day-to-day is, but also to make that connection. So here at Power of Work, we highly recommend doing informational interviews. And so we wanted to give you a good example of one. So I will turn it over to Natalia Hansen, who will be conducting this one.
Cool. Thanks, Hillary. So we're going to be interviewing Kit.
Hi.
We'll just start right off the bat with the first question. What is your job? What are your roles and responsibilities?
So I'm creative director at a Y Combinator startup called Garden, and we supply offices with healthy, organic, non-GMO foods to their office kitchens. And we also do stuff like meditation remotely and a lot of other well-being offerings for employees. So my main role is managing the brand aligned creative assets, which are things such as the logos, the photos, photography, websites, email campaigns, and social media, as well as video production and ads and copywriting. So it's a whole list of a lot of different creative things.
Cool. And so are you just like in charge of making sure those get done? Are you?
Yeah, so that's another part, is that I end up hiring a lot of people to do that work for me as well. Because we're a small company, we don't have any direct hires. So most of the time I just go onto Upwork and that kind of stuff to go and find the right kind of people for the right kind of job I'm looking for. Usually in a larger company, you have a lot of people working under you, so direct reports that you are working with daily. So I don't have that luxury at my job. Most of the time, if I have to do something, a lot of the time I do it very quickly, but it's your role is essentially to outsource that work.
Oh,
cool. All right. So how did you get your current position? What was the whole path to get there?
I would say that I took a more traditional route to get there. So I went to college first off to get a degree. So in high school, I liked art, I liked math, I liked science. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to art school or engineering school. And I started in engineering and I didn't like it. I didn't think that I could be an engineer or like sitting there, like I was making up formulas and that kind of stuff. And so I found a Bachelor of Design route that I ended up taking, which I loved. And I'm so happy I did that. The main goal was for me to be able to do graphic design remotely. So end up being a freelance graphic designer. And so I ended up taking 5 years in university and completed all the courses you needed to do. So that was, we did traditional fine art courses, we did design courses, we did some marketing courses and stuff like that. And also, printmaking and that kind of fun stuff, which is sort of a mixture of fine art and graphic design. And anyways, during my summers of college, I ended up getting graphic design positions. So I was able to start building up my experience that way. And so right after I graduated, I was able to get a full-time position as a junior graphic designer at a library. And so I was there for about 2.5 years. And during that time, I ended up upgrading to a mid-level designer. After which I started doing my own freelance gig after that for about 5 years. And then after that, I ended up landing an art director role at Garden, which is the company that I still work for. And now about 3 months ago, I upgraded again to creative director. So overall, it's like 11-year experience moving up the ladder in that traditional role.
Okay, cool. So would you say that getting that education was necessary for your job, or just kind of that's how you did it and it worked out?
Yeah. I would say nowadays it's, anyone could probably get into graphic design and not have a degree or certificate or anything like that. It's just I would highly recommend that you take design courses though, so you understand the programs. Like we use Adobe Suite for everything. And there's other new programs that people are using, like Figma and stuff like that for UI UX. So there's a lot of crossover now with kind of the more user experience design, because print is kind of, it's not dead, but I started sort of more of a traditional, you're learning print, you're learning all the print practices, and that's not being taught anymore as much. And I think that you can kind of start with doing some basic design like in Canva or stuff like that to get the skills that you need. So basically you don't need to go the traditional route to get to where you want to go. And also I would say that to be a creative director, you also don't have to be a graphic designer to get to that point, because you can actually get into that position if you're in photography, if you're doing film. If you're in fine arts, you can still get the role of creative director. You just have to have a portfolio is the main thing, and to show your track record for actually getting work done.
Okay, cool. So what are some kind of like entry level positions? Like you said you did graphic design, but
yeah, an entry level position from the graphic design route it's called a production designer. Or the junior graphic designer role. So they would essentially take the brand identity. So that's the logos, the colors, photography. They put it together into, let's say, an ad or something like that, into the specs that you need, and you're essentially producing this art, producing commercial art at that point. And there's not a lot of creativity in that role. It's more of just getting the work done, and that's how you end up building your portfolio that way, and then you end up being able to work your way up from that point.
Okay, cool. Do you have any like advice or suggestions for being successful?
I think the main thing is to keep building your portfolio up, and don't be afraid of criticism. So don't take your designs personally if you're getting feedback from them. It's how you grow, and that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that those are some of the biggest challenges too, is just kind of getting out of your own way and getting it done? Or
yeah, I think it's like you have to, especially being in my role, you have to put perfectionism aside, because you have to be okay with allowing someone else to take over the creative process. You can't always do everything yourself. So I think that's probably one of the hardest things about being in a creative director role. You're used to doing things yourself and how you would do them, but you have to just allow someone else to sort of put their own spin on it. And as long as the work is getting done, because you're producing something as the outcome, then you have to kind of like let your perfectionism go sometimes, but you still have to be detail oriented.
yeah.
All
right. Just a couple more questions. What would you say are like normal demands on like your time and stuff for this role?
So typically I work 9 to 5, and my job, I've been blessed with a really great job where we usually stick within that. And there's been times where it's kind of, you have to work, in the evenings and everything like that. But there is something to be said about working with freelancers who work on the weekends, or they work in different time zones, because then at that point you have to make sure that you're available to answer any questions, and also review work to get it through if there's deadlines as well. So it does sort of take over your vacation time sometimes, but it's kind of part of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any like really great things that you've learned in this role? Things that have really helped you grow as a person, as a creative?
I think something, because I just come from such a design background, that I've been kind of thrust into the marketing world. So I've learned a lot more about the marketing jargon and actually working with the sales team. So that is something that I think that I've had to expand upon and learn and grow with. Yeah, I'm trying to think about other stuff.
Anything like creative wise or graphic design wise?
Yeah. I mean, what's cool is that you get to be creative all the time, and you feel like, you know, coming from a creative background, I feel like I can get like my creative juice out just by working, which is really great. And I think there's always more to learn in terms of, you have to be up with trends constantly, so you have to know where to look for that kind of stuff. And even me doing this for 11 years, I always feel like, oh shoot, I feel like a dinosaur sometimes, because there's been new things that are happening in Photoshop and I don't know. And so many other people are so quick at them. So, I mean, that's something that I think I have to tell people to, you know, keep on top of, and I need to do that myself as well.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah. It's fun.
Really last thing, do you have any like suggested resources or anything that you think someone should look at, should kind of be up to date on in order to kind of get in the business?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of online courses you can take through, say, like Udemy or Skillshare. There's also, if you look at your local college, there's a lot of boot camps that you can go to, that you like, intensive boot camps that you can just go there in the evenings. Those are likely also remote as well. And, you know, you can still look at doing art classes and everything like that at a community college or art school to learn. And there's also YouTube, but you know,
Yeah.
I still look at YouTube all the time for learning things that I don't know. So
Yeah,
always learning.
cool. So just kind of keeping up with your art and
Yeah.
having a portfolio and working on helping other people with theirs kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. We're pretty much done. I don't know.
20 minutes.
if
Yeah,
anyone wants-
I wanted to maybe open it up to if anyone has any
Questions.
other questions. I
Yes, hi
definitely,
there. This is Sonia. I have a question. If I was just starting in the industry, what resources would you look at, like junior graphic artist, or what would I look for? And would I be using LinkedIn? Yeah. What email
Yeah.
or SIP recruiters or whatever
Yeah.
what's
If
the
you
best
feel,
resource?
yeah, if you're feeling equipped now that you have your portfolio and you're ready to present it to get in front of people, I think that one of the best things is to reach out to someone who's already in the role, probably on LinkedIn or through your network, to just, you know, pick their brain a little bit more. And they probably have connections who are looking, you know, for those type of roles as well. But I mean, yeah, LinkedIn is great. Indeed, if you're just looking for jobs, like, you know, look on the job board there.
and then you had
Okay.
also mentioned that you hire people through Upwork, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would
So
be
Upwork. Yeah.
different.
And that's for established people who, you know, have their portfolios, and Upwork is actually quite a rigorous process to sign up for, initially. So when I first started, I couldn't even get on there because it was so saturated with graphic designers specifically. And so they only allow a certain amount of people to get in there. But, you know, if you're a copywriter, there's a lot of copywriting jobs. There's a lot of people that are doing social media. And so I love going on there because you get to post your job, and then there's a whole bunch of people that reply to you, and you get to sort through them and chat with them and pick them.
And then I had a question for you, Kit.
Yeah.
What is your favorite project you've worked on so far?
Oh my gosh. Pinatas.
Yeah, Luke's birthday piñatas.
I mean, in graphic design, I'm trying to think about what my favorite creative director role is so far. Because I mean, I'm expanding a little bit more into video, and that's fun for me because I haven't done that in a while, like a long time. So many favorites. I mean,
yeah, any projects you've worked on.
Yeah, so because I like tactile things, a lot of my favorite projects are wayfinding or anything that you get to print out and that you experience in the 3D realm. So I used to do a lot of signage a while ago and wayfinding. And so I'm thinking about how large to print things off and how people are experiencing them in real life. So it's the complete opposite, or I guess it's like more of the real world user experience versus the digital experience.
Yeah,
Those are
the
my
real
favorite.
UI, right?
Yeah.
When you said wayfinding, do you want to define that? I'm not too sure I'm familiar with that term.
So if you ever go to an airport and you're trying to figure out how to get around the airport, you look for their signage or their wayfinding. So that has to be super clear with directing people where to go. So it's just like, you have to think about where people are looking, where should I put this sign that directs you to the certain way so you can find your baggage properly, or you can find your gate quickly because you're running in the airport and you need to find things quite quickly to get to your flight, or the bathroom too, right? So, and there's a lot of fun things you can do with that in terms of fabrication as well. You can laser cut the female symbol for the bathroom or something like that, and you can paint it large on a wall. So there's a lot of options for that kind of stuff. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of fun thinking.
Oh,
I had a
that's-
question. How do you show off your portfolio?
That's a good question. You typically have it online nowadays. In the long ago, you used to have to print everything off and carry it around in a little suitcase. But nowadays I use it's actually part of Adobe. So there's this important website called Behance, and it's good for creatives because you can upload all of your projects to it. And then this in particular, I can't remember what it's called now. I think it's ProSite, but it connects your Behance portfolio to a website. So you get to actually create how your portfolio looks. And that's free when you have an Adobe Suite subscription. So
you would send like a link to someone and that link.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is nice because it's you can click and drag to create your portfolio instead of paying someone to create it for you. Yeah.
One more question. Have you thought about the metaverse for graphic artists?
I mean, yes, that's a whole other.
I've been looking into
ballgame.
that as an investment, and so it's like it's a lot of graphic artistry in.
Yes, it is, and I think that you can probably make a lot of money building in that. It just depends. Right now, if you're looking at like NFTs in general, that they're essentially pieces of art in a square that live online on the blockchain. And so there's a lot of people pumping that kind of stuff out, and you don't have to be a designer. You can just do whatever. You can take photos. Like anyone can pretty much do that if they want to. But yeah, I mean, yeah, blockchain metaverse is something to really
I think
if you're
it's
looking for
fascinating field,
future.
something I know very little about, but
Yeah.
learning.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you think about all the real world, how we used to just do like print design and then now it's digital, but then metaverse is a whole other layer below that into a whole other universe.
And just creating images of avatars and things. I think just a lot of potential for creativity as well as graphic design.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So you can find that kind of stuff on LinkedIn. Oh, actually, Angel List, I think .io is another one too, because that catches early stage startups. You may or may not get funding. They may or may not have funding, and they may or may not be able to give you money right away, but that's something to look into for catching all those funky metaverse jobs.
Yeah, or just general jobs. Like if that's a good point. I've used that before, and I think that's a good, if you're looking entry level and you really need that break, doing an internship or potentially going on there and finding a startup that needs help but can't really pay. It's kind of like an internship, and then you start to build your portfolio.
Yeah, it's great. And you network too, because the networking is also very valuable as well in the industry. When you're doing great work, people recognize that, and you're going to keep getting invited into, whatever other people are doing as they leave other companies. which happens to me often.
Yeah, no, I definitely support that power of work. We
Yeah.
all about that and networking. But yeah, thank you so much, Kit. We really appreciate you coming on and joining us. We think that it's great to get exposure to different careers and to get an idea of what we can do. And I think that what you accomplished is really impressive. I think art is one of those really hard industries to actually make it into a career. So yeah, we're very excited to have you here.
Thanks for chatting. My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You can.